Welcome. My name is Penelope Chatterton. Welcome to Awaken the Dream. My friends, I don't usually have two guests sitting with me today, but I'm very privileged to have John Arterton and James Mack. They are singers, composers, songwriters, chaplains. They just do a myriad of wonderful things. I met them at a CD party in Brewster, and I was so taken with their talent and their music that I had to have them on my show. And I also hoped maybe you would have known someone that I knew at the conservatory, but that's all right. It was still a wonderful way for me to bond with you both. So thank you for coming today.
You're
and
most welcome. We're
sharing your love
Absolutely.
story. And I have to tell you, I'm so in love with love, having met you, because love is such a beautiful thing, and you had expressed it so dearly when you sang to each other, and you, oh, those mushy songs. You're like the Mush Boys.
We are.
You are definitely just such romantics, and it's such a beautiful thing. So, and you found all those tunes. Did you just compile them and fell in love with them? You didn't write any of them, did you, or did you?
No, actually, we just like to sing songs that other people write, but that mean something to us.
Yeah.
But John is quite an arranger, so John arranges all the songs that we sing himself.
But you know, sitting in the audience and being a musician myself, I was very taken. They're just exquisite.
Well, you are a good audience, as we like to say.
We're a good audience, and you work the room with all your warmth and all your love. You spread beyond the two of you, which I don't often see that, actually. As you went down the aisle and you both just embraced everybody. It was a beautiful experience.
Wow, this is fun, isn't it?
It is. I like this.
So your love story touched me so much. I want our friends to hear about how you met. I know you were in the village and you didn't know each other, and you had weird careers, and you still didn't figure out either you were gay or straight or whatever the situation was. You had the audience eating out of your hand, to say the least. So tell me a little bit more about whichever one wants to start, about your background. How about with you, James?
I'd be glad to start, yes.
Okay.
Well, I was raised Southern Baptist in Memphis, Tennessee. But as I like to say in the show, it didn't stick. Well, for a while it did, however, in a big way.
You were really into it.
I really was into it, and my youth choir was really my entire social world when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And so I sang in the choir from a very early age, loved music, always did.
I can tell.
And then I felt that I was being called into the ministry, to become a Southern Baptist minister. So I went to college to do that.
Okay. You were really into it.
That lasted for about a year.
You were called.
I was called, yes. I really felt the calling. And I was struggling with being gay, with kind of coming to terms with that.
Yeah.
So the Southern Baptist minister thing obviously wasn't going to work for me.
Now, may I just back up 1 minute? How long did you know before then? Did you have a hunch when you were a kid?
You know, of course I did, but it was always in the back of my mind.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I would say from as early as I can remember, I felt inside that I was gay, but of course, you know, the world I lived in just didn't allow me to deal with that, and I really didn't until
didn't even have a label, did it? I mean, did it sort of?
Not a nice one. No.
He has a wonderful photograph when he was about 6, wearing it says on the back, James is wearing the fairy princess outfit from the girl across the street. He thinks it makes him look pretty.
Yes, and I was about 4 or 5, I think. Yeah, something like that. And so from a very early age, definitely. So once I realized that I wasn't going to become a Southern Baptist minister, I became a choir director at a small Baptist church in Mississippi, the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Love, Mississippi.
Love?
And I was there for about 2 years, and that was when I really came to terms with my sexuality and realized that I was gay and that this wasn't going to work within the Southern Baptist Church. So I left the Southern Baptist Church, and
hanging your head?
Well, no, I didn't exactly say why I was leaving to the Southern Baptist Church, but I left. And I found a career in the men's clothing business.
Perfect.
Having just come out as a gay man, I loved nice clothes, of course, and wanted to make myself look as good as I could.
Of course.
So I found a job in the men's clothing business where I could get nice discounts.
Now, were you still in the South?
I was still in Memphis. I was 21. And just through a really fortunate set of circumstances, they needed a sportswear buyer. So they said, we're going to train you to become the sportswear buyer. So
Why
6
not?
months later, I was traveling to New York, and I would go to New York about 5 times a year.
Oh, what fun.
On an expense account, and I was 21. So my first trip to New York, I thought, this is home. This is where I belong. I felt so comfortable. More so than I ever had before.
Yeah.
And
The pace must have been the opposite of the South, wasn't it?
oh, absolutely.
I mean,
the pace, the culture, everything about it was.
even the drawl in the South and the speed.
Oh yes, the heat has a lot to do with that. I think it's, you can't move too quickly.
Never thought of that.
Right. So so I did that for about 7 years at the men's store in Memphis, where I worked, and then to further my career, I moved to New York, and lived in New York for 13 years. And my whole life was about my career at that time. I didn't sing. I didn't have any sort of a spiritual life that I was aware of, just because what I had been raised to believe was so different than who I was inside.
Yeah.
I really couldn't reconcile those two things at that time.
Yeah.
So, I was really involved in just making a success out of my career.
Yeah.
And was there for 13 years.
Yeah, and in those days you could actually make a living, couldn't you?
You could. You could actually make a living.
I asked that
actually,
because my daughter
yeah.
just had to run out, because a lot of those singer-songwriters who used to try and struggle had no place to go anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
So you were at a very good time in New York.
I was. Yeah, it was a good time.
You had
it
fun?
was a very good. Oh, I loved it. I would pinch myself walking down the street. Am I really living here?
Yeah.
Is it? Because it's such a wonderful city, such a great place, and I really felt that way, right up until the time I moved. But I knew it was time for a change.
And then you went
when I
right to
did.
P-Town?
Then I went right to P-Town in '97.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, for the last 3 or 4 years that I lived there, John and I were actually living 2 blocks away from each other. I lived at 75 Perry Street in the West Village.
Yeah.
John lived at 75 Bank Street in the West Village.
And never knew each other.
I would go to the deli in his building and wait for the bus to go to work out in front of his building, but the two of us never even saw each other, as far as we know.
As far as you know.
Yeah, yeah. But we love to go back to the old neighborhood now and revisit our old laundromat, our old diner, those things.
I don't know whether we should switch to John for a second, because I want to get back to what you do as a chaplain. But just let's get the pre-stuff going here. You were raised...
I was raised Episcopalian.
Aha! They do good music.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Not that the Baptists don't, but they have lots of good English music.
Oh, they sing in the Episcopal Church, yeah.
Yeah, they do.
4-part harmony at all times.
Yes, boy sopranos and little incense thrown in.
Well, I was a boy soprano at the National Cathedral in Washington, and my father was one of the ministers there.
Oh, really?
So we lived in a stone house right about 200 feet from the cathedral.
All right.
And I would walk across the grounds to St. Albans, where Al Gore was one of my schoolmates. And, that was
interesting.
Different. Yeah.
And
so I was singing. We were choir boys. We were singing about 20 hours a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's heavily immersed.
Yeah.
But you loved it.
Loved it.
You were a soprano.
Yep.
Okay. Then you came into adolescence, and
then the voice changed.
The voice changed.
Yeah. Then I went off to college down in North Carolina and was a voice major, music major, and then I went to New England Conservatory in Boston for my master's in choral conducting.
Great school.
Yep, great school. You know it well.
It's tough.
And then this was 1960. It was 1967. And 1969, I graduated, and I got a teaching job in Western Mass.
Oh, where in Western Mass?
Well, it was in East Hampton. Williston Academy, it was called at those points.
My kid is almost on the campus.
Oh.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
Really?
I didn't catch that part. Yeah, he lives right there in East Hampton. He works at Bement, and but they play Williston. Oh. So I'm always at those Williston games. Well,
there you go. I was coaching. I was track coach and wrestling coach, believe it or not.
I do believe it. You're strong.
And then I kind of got the theater bug, and I went to Smith where a few men every year were taken into their graduate acting program.
Nice.
So I did that for 2 years, and then once I got my second master's degree, I went to New York with my girlfriend.
Aha!
Moved to New York to become an actor.
Oh.
Which I did for many years.
Okay.
And at some point along in there, I moved to Brooklyn, and I renovated a brownstone there that I bought for $25,000.
Eat your heart out.
It was a few years ago.
Yeah.
It was a few years ago, 1978.
Do you believe that?
Yeah.
So you renovated it?
I renovated it, yep.
You're a good interior decorator?
Yep. When my girlfriend saw how good I was at renovating, she went, might be. No, anyway, we broke up, and I came out at the age of 35.
Oh!
So, I mean, James came out really at 20, and I came out at 35.
So you just weren't sure, or?
I did not want to put the label on it.
Yeah.
I did not want to admit to myself. I wasn't acting on it in any way. I thought it would go away if I kind of kept on what I was doing.
Right.
And one day I realized that my two best friends in the world were a gay man and a lesbian, and I went,
hey.
Well, I guess it's time.
Gosh. So you got mirrors around you, so sort of reflecting on parts of you that you maybe weren't looking at so much.
Yeah. I like to say in our show that I don't know how I missed it because I majored in music in college. I coached high school wrestling. I moved to New York to become an actor. I opened an antique store, and I still didn't know. Hello?
Hello. So you're happy, and you've been married how long?
We've been married for 7 years this past April.
A Saturn cycle. Those are good.
Cycle,
Those are,
Yep.
You're on your next, and you're together, and you're loving it, and you're happy.
Loving it. We are blessed.
We certainly, we're very, very blessed.
Yeah. So you met in P-Town.
Yep.
All right, I want that story.
Okay, yeah. So, well,
take it.
I moved to Provincetown in '97.
Yeah.
I opened a bed and breakfast. When I moved to Provincetown, I was walking my dog on the beach one day, and I ran into another woman who was walking her dog, and we started talking, and she said, "Are you looking for a place to sing?"
What?
And I said, "Why would you ask me that?"
Oh, how interesting.
Now, I was looking for a place to sing. That was one of the goals that I had when I moved to Provincetown, was to find a place to sing, because I hadn't sung for the whole 13 years that I had lived in New York.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things I really wanted to do. And she said that, and I said, "Why would you ask me that question? Why would you think that I would be looking for a place to sing?" And she said, "Well, you just look like you might be." So I said, "Well, yeah, I am, as a matter of fact." She said, "Well, come with me to the UU choir practice, and if you don't like it, don't come back, but I think you'll really enjoy it." So I did. I went with her to choir practice that Wednesday night, and loved it. It was the first time I looked at a piece of sheet music in, 13 or 14 years probably.
Was it big choir, small choir?
Small. There were probably 15 people. That's
not bad.
Maybe
That's not bad at all.
On a good day, but had a really wonderful time. Really loved choir practice.
Who was your choir director?
Her name was Mary Jo.
Okay.
And she was the choir director at the time. And
I thought it might have been.
Yeah, well, John was in the choir.
Aha.
He had just kind of joined the choir through a set of circumstances I'll let him tell you about. But we both came into the UU choir there pretty much right at the same time, and that's how we met.
Yeah.
Was
and
singing in the choir.
UUs that's just such a comfortable place to be. I mean, everything and anything is recognized and honored, and it's pretty nice.
Right.
It's pretty nice.
Certainly is.
Church light, we call it.
Church light. So.
Well, I was sitting in the choir there because after I came out, I started an a cappella group, and we were openly gay.
Okay.
And we became pretty successful, and we toured for 10 years.
Really?
And we were in the film Philadelphia, and we were on HBO and Good Morning America.
Nice.
That kind of thing.
Wow.
And, we put out 3 albums.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We were called The Flirtations.
The Flirtations.
And we were very flirtatious.
I bet.
And I was sick of traveling being on tour and coming back to New York, where it was helter-skelter.
Yeah.
I really wanted something calm and quiet to
Getting old there, John,
Yeah.
huh?
Right.
Yeah.
So I moved to Provincetown in '93.
Now, had you seen or did you know anything about P-Town, either one of you, when you went out there? Did you know what a fabulous
sure.
place it was?
Oh, sure.
Oh,
Before we moved there.
You know, when you say that you're gay, you get a little packet of information, and that's right in.
There's
you
a whole
get
chapter on
a
Providence.
lifetime.
You could put Northampton in there, too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so, yes.
yeah, that's true. There's a and New York City,
Of course.
West Village. There's a theme here.
There is a thing.
Yeah. So anyway, the singing group.
So you got old and wanted to sort of calm down.
I wanted to calm down,
Yeah,
and when the group folded in '97, I started going to the UU Meeting House and joined the choir, and there he was.
There he was. Were you
Yes.
in the same section? Were you a tenor?
We
you a
were
bass?
both really barittenors, which is what we still consider ourselves to be.
I like that. Great, barittenors. Yeah.
We like to say we can go either way, but that has a certain connotation to it.
So you met there.
We met. Yeah, we
was
met
it an
in the
instant
choir.
wonderful thing, or was it just, hi, pal?
Well,
It was complicated.
It was complicated. I had moved to Provincetown with my partner at the time, and we had been together for about 10 years when we moved to Provincetown. We opened our bed and breakfast together. So our lives were completely enmeshed.
Yeah.
Completely. And John and I were just friends initially. And,
So you were involved when you met John?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Aha.
Yeah.
The plot thickens.
The plot thickens. Yes. So we were friends for about 2 years, 2 or 3 years, before I just started realizing, boy, I really enjoy being around this guy. You know, he's so nice, he's so sweet. You know, and at the same time,
More. Yeah, and he sings
no
well.
more. Yeah, he sings. I love
Handsome.
singing next to him in the choir. And at the same time, my other relationship was just it was really winding down.
Okay.
And so
It had done its learning thing.
it had definitely, and we were growing apart.
Yep.
We moved to Provincetown. Both of us. That was our dream, and I took to Provincetown just immediately.
Yeah.
And he really didn't.
Uh-huh.
He didn't enjoy it nearly as much as I did, and so it was a kind of a long road. But we ended up working it all out.
That's always
Pretty much amiably.
good.
Together.
That's a miracle
Yes.
right there.
Yes, it is.
Period.
It is.
It's just not done often.
Yeah. And I
Are you speaking from experience?
Never.
So I pursued John for a little while.
Okay.
Sending him
The
anonymous
pursuant.
gifts and you know,
Anonymous?
flowers and anonymous initially because
Yeah.
it's
Oh, sweet.
you know, it was just
You were shy.
I was shy, yeah, but at the same time I felt so strongly inside that I felt that I had to act on what I was
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, I love
in
it.
some way. So that's how it started.
And your
Yeah.
reactions, were they more immediate or were they gradual or?
Well, I wasn't aware what the state of their relationship was, so at first I went, I can't even
Yeah.
consider this until
Yes.
find
Being
out.
an upright citizen and
So that
good
we
moral
were in that
character.
stage
Right.
for, I don't know, 9 months, a year,
About a year
something
probably.
like that before it became
Yeah. So
clear
love is
that
a-
he was available.
Love is a beautiful thing. We have 5 minutes, would you believe that, before we hear you sing a song. But in those 5 minutes, there's something about love that I always like to think the heart just seems to know and attract. There's something that happens to you. I always think, really, everything just
absolutely.
comes to you that's supposed to come to you. And when we laughed about relationships, I've had my share where I've attracted exactly what I needed and learned what I needed and had my abandonment issues and went through all of that stuff. But isn't it a miracle the way sort of God sets it all up, where whatever happened, it all had a reason and all weaves itself together? And
Incredible.
Yeah,
You're in counseling?
Well, no, we're not. No, we are blissfully happy, but you know, we didn't just wake up one morning and it was like that.
Yeah.
We both had been in other relationships which were difficult and were abusive, and you know, you have to learn from those experiences.
Yeah, you don't want those again.
No, that's really is the blessing of meeting at the time in life that when we met, is that we've learned a lot of lessons in our prior relationships that we're able to hopefully remember going into this new relationship, and thankfully we were. And so a lot of small things that would sometimes trip you up, we were able to overlook those. And
or understand where they came from, or it's not about the other one, it's an old story. You know, I think those lessons that you learn really are, you really do the work, and if you do the work, your genes just shift. You really are different. And yeah, there may be some teasing that comes up about little things, but you can laugh at it.
Right, because if we had met when we were in New York, we were so completely different people then that we probably, nothing would have happened. You know, who knows?
Right.
But we met when we did, and it was the right time, and we were both ready.
A big secret to loving one another: you two are a riot, and you have more fun, and you just find the humor in everything. And I think I want to tell our friends today that's one of the greatest ingredients to a relationship.
Absolutely.
Be yourself. Be as crazy as you can be. Be just kooky, and you have fun with that.
Yeah, a sense of humor goes a long way.
Doesn't it? Yeah. So now you're a chaplain.
I'm a chaplain.
We have 2 minutes to go, so
I'm a chaplain with the UU Meeting House.
Okay.
So I perform weddings. I have been performing commitment ceremonies before gay marriage became legal in 2003. And so I've been commissioned by the UU Meeting House in Provincetown to perform weddings.
So it's been since 2003, which we can talk about in our second show as far as the history of how the world is doing.
Right. Yeah.
But you've gone through, you know, it's so funny, you have parents too that are saying, gee, the milkman used to come, or the Iceman, or we had this war. I mean, it's interesting what you've been through in your small years about change. I mean, all the different periods, the pink period, the blue period, that how...
And it seems to be happening kind of exponentially now, that it's really happening.
We're changing and evolving, and it's really, it's such a, you can't even pin it down sometimes. You can't find words for how change happens, but before you know it, I think it's because you've worked something through, that you're just brand new all the time. And so if you're brand new all the time, then don't you notice some of those old scars? You don't feel the hurt you used to. I mean, isn't it, don't you think back on those really rocky times? Not you.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's celebrate psychotherapy, please.
Absolutely. That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
It heals. I mean, you do. You wake up one day and you realize that you're doing things differently. You're feeling things differently than you used to.
And that hard work was you dared to go to that place of pain and honor it and live in it, and maybe be very unhappy in it, because you always come out on the other side, and it's a pat on your own back. But we have to now announce the song that we're going to have you have actually heard on this show, and we're going to show some pictures of your wedding. And the name of the song is, the love song is?
It's Come What May.
Come What May.
Yes.
My friends, we're about to hear and see our friends sing. Thank you.
Never knew I could feel like this, like I've never seen the sky before. Want to vanish inside your kiss. Every day I love you more and more. Listen to my heart, can you hear it sing? Telling me to give you everything. Seasons may change, winter to spring, but I'll love you until the end of time. Suddenly the world seemed such a perfect place. Suddenly it moves with such a perfect grace. Suddenly my life doesn't seem such a waste. It all revolves around you. Listen to my heart, can you hear it sing? Telling me to give you everything. Seasons may change, winter to spring. Oh, but I'll love you until the end of time. Come what may, come what may, I will love you until my dying day. And there's no mountain too high, no river too wide. Sing out this song and I'll be there by your side. Storm clouds may gather and stars may collide. Oh, but I'll love you until the end of time. Come what may, come what may, come what may, I will love you until my dying day. Until my dying